Hello everyone and welcome to this month's January watch list preview. Didn't have a lot showing up for inside month, so I looked for the 122 potential rev strats either direction. Wasn't really anything on a rev strat to the downside. So we have a couple for the inside month and a couple for the one inside candle followed by a two down, looking for a rev strat to the upside. So let's take a look and see what we have here. AMD, and I know NVDA was on this also, but I don't remember why I did these last night. I don't remember why. I didn't like NVIDIA as much as AMD, but it was very similar. Not saying you couldn't trade in NVIDIA. If you like NVIDIA, you could kind of just put NVIDIA on here and kind of look at these same types of levels that I do and map it out yourself. In fact, if you want, I could even, well, if you want, I guess I'm not going to know if you want. I'll just do it here real quick. I just won't put them all on here, but I'll show you how to do it. So AMD on the monthly chart, if you go out and look at the yearly's been really good. The quarterly, really good. And then you look at the month. We have an inside month to the downside. Now, this is one thing I don't like is how good the longer time frames look. However, we're pretty far away from this 9 SMA, so we could potentially see this thing pulling back down here, and this would be the initial target here. That doesn't mean that we won't come up here and break it to the upside. So, if we do break the high of this inside month, keep that on watch also. So, let's just say right here, for example, and sometimes you can run into this too, and this is a good example of it. Let's say this here would have been an actionable signal. Let's just say maybe this was an inside candle, or maybe this was a two down. Look how far away we are from the SMA. So what happens when it breaks to the upside? Yeah, it moves. I mean, this was still a good move. This was still 78 to $91, still a huge move. But it kind of consolidated until the SMA caught up to it, and that's when it took off. So you may see that here. You may see this thing consolidate for a couple of months until the SMA catches up before it takes off again like it did here. That doesn't mean you can't trade this. Like I said, this here, the high here was 88.72, and the target was 94.28. Still a $6 move. You just have to be more careful when you're trading inside of some chop like that. Normally, it's not good to trade in chop. I wouldn't necessarily call this chop per se. This here kind of was right in here, but it still played out. We broke the high of the inside candle, and we went up and we targeted out. So you can still trade it. It's just definitely not as easy. I shouldn't say not as easy. It's definitely harder because nothing in trading is easy. So anyway, looking for a break to the downside below 130.60. And some of these I took weekly. Went to the weekly target or weekly time frame for targets, and some of them I went to the daily. It just depended on if there was a huge gap between targets on the weekly, then I moved down to the daily to try to catch some in between. So target 1 would be the low, this candle here at 118.13, target 2 at 111.37, target 3 at 104.02, target 4 at 99.82. And don't forget the psychologicals. You're going to have 110, 100, probably 105. 100 will definitely be a psychological. Let's go back and look at the month again. This 9 SMA is right around the 110 level. So if we come down and look at the weekly, the 9 SMA is way down here. So even though on the weekly it doesn't look like we're going to break down below all this, on the monthly it very well could. Now, granted, by the time the monthly breaks it, or not breaks it, by the time the monthly gets down to the 9 SMA, the 9 SMA might be up here around 120. So you got to kind of, it's dynamic, so you got to keep that in mind. So the 9 SMA may be way down here by target 1 by the time it triggers, or by the time it gets near it. So that's what we're looking at for AMD. I'll go ahead and map out NVIDIA for you. Very similar layout. You know, year was great, quarter was great, and there's our inside month, almost identical looking. Downside move here. I'm not going to plot everything out like I normally do. I'll just put trigger, and then you come down to the weekly, and you can look at it right here for target, right here for target, here, here, and here. So there you go. I'll leave these on here for a second, then I'm going to go ahead and delete them off of here, but that way you can pause the video and set yours up the same way. But I'm going to leave them off here, because if I don't, what happens is at the end of the month, I'll look at this list and I'll go through and I'll delete all of my levels off of all these symbols, but I won't do it on NVIDIA because I'll forget about it. And then when I go to the NVIDIA chart, I'm going to say, wait, why are these here? I don't remember why these are here. So, but there you go. Like I said, NVIDIA looks very similar. In fact, if one triggers, the other one probably will trigger too. Take your pick, whichever one you want to trade. Dollar Tree. Look at the monthly. Looking for a break to the upside. If you look at the year, really good year. Really good quarter. And now we're on an inside month. Let me turn this volume down a little bit. Really good, or inside month followed by following an enormous month in November. So looking for a break to the upside to continue that. So trigger is 142.60. And we come down to the weekly chart. Target 1 is going to be here at 143.80. And then remember what I said about a big level here. Big, it's not huge, it's $6, but I came down to the daily to try to pick up some targets. So we're looking at right here, 145.31 and then 149.37. Just to give you an extra target in between here, or somewhere to put a stop potentially. So if we trigger and we come up, we break target 1. You know, at that point I move my stop to my entry, break even, and then once we come up here and break this, I'd set my stop to just a little bit below target 1, and then go from there. Now if we get, usually I do like halfway, so if we get halfway between here and here, which would be roughly $2, so we get to about here, I'd move my stop to just below target 2 then. And then once we hit target 3, which is my final target, I'd probably get a little bit more aggressive on my stop. Instead of in between here, I'd probably go ahead and move it up to, let's say 148.50, maybe 149. I keep it a little bit tighter then. And you could even do like I said in my earlier video. And you can check one of my earlier videos I did. I think it was the one for the quarterly. I think it was the quarter 4 review. In the description, I copy and pasted this in there. Use this on a shorter time frame. I wouldn't use this on the same time frame you're entering on. The reason being is, you know, we're looking at the monthly. If you use this, this one here waits for a close below. And let me give you an example here. Let me find one. This here probably would not stop out. It's a close below the 9 SMA. However, with this, the SMA also has to be lower value than the previous bar's SMA was. And this to me doesn't look like it was. I don't know that I can see that level. But anyway, it has to be going down like this with the close below the 9 SMA for it to exit. That's a little bit dangerous. It's a little bit more aggressive because you could have, let's say, this situation here. With this one here, what would happen is, let's say this candle here, as soon as this SMA starts to bend down, if the price is below the 9 SMA, it's going to exit instantly. Where with this one up here, it's not going to exit till the close of this candle. So you'd be looking at an exit down here as opposed to possibly an exit up here. That's the difference between these two. And this is the same thing here, except for these are for the bearish side. I created these. They're on the quarter. If you go back and look in the description on the quarterly for quarter 4, they're in there. Feel free to use them. Feel free to share them. I'm not like that, so that's fine. But I wouldn't set it on the time frame that you're entering on. If you set it here on the month, your stop may be way down here, and that's just too far. So go to a shorter time frame. You're looking at the monthly time frame because you're looking at inside month. But let's look at the daily. Maybe set that on the daily chart. Set that script on the daily chart. So now your stop out would be roughly 138.30 as opposed to 109. So that's why I always say go to a lower time frame when you're looking for exits like this. You look at the larger time frame for an exit, you're potentially giving up too much. Now you may get stopped out of a trade earlier than you would if you kept it at the monthly, but in my mind, it's more important to protect your downside than it is to maximize your upside. And that's why I do that. So, again, there's Dollar Tree. I think we covered the targets. Yeah, we covered these targets. So next one is going to be XLE. Now, I don't like trading XLE, and here's what I'm going to recommend or suggest. I don't want to say recommend because I don't want to lead anybody in the wrong direction, but it's a suggestion. XLE doesn't move enough for me, and you see there's a lot of gaps. And when I say doesn't move enough, I mean this is a pretty big candle here, and it moves $1. That's one of the bigger candles you'll see on this. Average true range is only $1.41 on this. Friday it only moved 65 cents. It's tougher to make money on those. Now, if you're looking for longer term, which we would be on the monthly, you can look at the XLE. I have this open a couple times. Look at the XLE, which is the energy sector. Look at things like Dominion. What else is in there? I think Schallenberger, I think's in there, or Schlumberger, however you say it. Look at the things within the XLE, within the energy sector, and watch for setups on those. You could potentially get better, as long as you have a good setup, you could potentially get better profitability. That's not to say you can't trade the XLE. Sometimes it's a little bit safer to trade it because you won't have as big of moves. But on a monthly chart, you're probably okay. But if I'm looking at 15, 30-minute chart, I'd just stay away from XLE because it just doesn't move enough for me. So anyway, again, we're looking at on the year, inside year, and you got to remember the year's done now. So this candle's done. This candle no longer will move. This is finished product here. Monday morning, we're gonna have a new candle over here. So we finished with an inside candle on the year. Granted, it was a nice green candle, You could actually look for, and I haven't finished my yearly and quarterlies yet, you could look for an inside candle, an inside break to the upside here, and look for it to start coming back up. That's a very good possibility, but we're getting ahead of myself here on the yearly chart. Quarterly chart, we had a 2 up, but it kind of pulled back a little bit. Monthly chart, we have a potential rev strat, and that's what I have it listed here. XLE, potential rev strat. What a rev strat is an inside candle followed by a 2 down, followed by a 2 up, which is what this is showing. We have an inside candle followed by a 2 down that came down and just barely broke the 9 SMA, popped back up, finished with a doji-ish candle. It's not quite a hammer candle. It's not quite a doji. Kind of a hanging man. I think it's called a hanging man. I don't remember. I don't follow the hanging man and dragonfly and stuff as much. So it may be one of those. I don't know. I really don't put a lot of emphasis on those type of candles. Dojis, yes, but this isn't quite a doji. I guess it's close enough. You could probably consider it a doji. For me, a doji's right in the center. This is close to the center, a little bit above it. And this is the 50 SMA here. So if we break above this doji, 57.87, that would be our rev strat, with our ultimate target being the top of this candle here. So if we go down to the weekly, our trigger is going to be a break here, target 1. And remember, I said before, targets aren't, for me, on my videos, targets aren't necessarily where I would be selling. It's where I would be paying close attention. It's where I would be looking for a reversal on a shorter time frame. This is a weekly chart. Maybe look at the 60-minute chart. If you see a reversal on the 60 right at this level, get out. If we break above it, now it's time to move your stop up. If you don't use these in here and you only have this, let's go back to the monthly. If you don't look at a smaller time frame, your target is here. You have nothing in between. So granted, it's only $1.50, but you have nothing in between here for targets. So you enter here and you're just going to stay in it. And if it comes to here and stops, you gave up this profit. So when I put targets in on the smaller time frames, like I said, I'm going to be looking for some reversals here on maybe the 60, maybe the 30, depends on how it's moving, how the day's looking. If it's a red day, the SPY and the Qs, everything's dropping, I'm going to be looking at a shorter time frame because I'm not going to be trusting. Now, if it's a green day, everything's running good, everything's up, I may just look at the 60 on this because I'm, a little bit more confident that we're going in the right direction. So when it breaks this, I'm going to have my stop probably right here. Probably put my stop right here. Once it breaks this level, I'm going to move my stop up, maybe not quite to break even, because that's still kind of tight. We're only looking at 40 cents from trigger to target 1. So I don't know if I'm going to put my stop all the way up here. At this point, I'll probably move it up to maybe in between, halfway between here and here. And then I'm just going to leave it there until we confidently break target 1 and probably get to target 2. Once we get to target 2, I'm definitely moving it up to probably just slightly above break even. And the only reason I say slightly above is I'm looking at break even. But with theta, with time decay, I need to be slightly above it. With options, I need to be slightly above it because of theta. And I'm just going to leave it there. Now, once we break confidently above this to maybe halfway between here and here, now I'm going to move my stop up here to target 1. And I've mentioned this on several videos. That's how I'm going to do it. Another way to do it is let's say you look at the smaller time frames. You go down to the 60. Let's just say here. Well, Let's go back to something that looks a little bit better. Let's say here, put your stop here. Now you move your stop up here. When this candle closes, put your stop here. When this candle closes, move your stop up to here. This candle closes, move it to here. This candle closes, move it to here. Now you may have got stopped out here. It's very tight here. That's 55.90 and 55.89, 1 penny. You probably wouldn't have got stopped out there unless you had it right on there. And even then, with options, you may not have got stopped out. With the commons, you probably would have got stopped out. With the options, usually there's a little bit of slippage, and it has to drop down a little bit further before it actually goes. So you probably wouldn't have got stopped out here. So you would have set your stop here, and actually I would have just left it here. And now I would have set my stop here and would have got stopped out right here. So that's how you can do it on a shorter time frame. If you do that on a longer time frame, your stops here, 38.50. If you're all the way up at $50, you don't want to have your stop all the way down at 38. So that's why I go to shorter time frames. So that's XLE. I know I'm dragging this video out, and there's so many of them to get through today. UPS. The year's been phenomenal. The quarter, we had an inside candle the previous quarter. Last quarter was an outside candle. It was really good, really good candle. And then on the month, looking at potential rev strat again, we had an outside candle back in October, followed by a red inside candle, but we came down and we held this 9 SMA. Now for December, we bounced a little bit below, so we went 2 down, then we shot back up and almost went outside. In fact, the high is 216.49, and over here is 216.34. We're 15 cents away from going outside, 16 cents away technically. 16 cents away from going outside. But what that means and what I like about it, it means we are very close to going rev strat on this one. We're already right there. I mean, we closed at 214.34. We're only exactly $2 away from going rev strat. So we come down to the weekly. Our trigger is a break above this candle. Actually, it would be this one, 216.34. And our target, since there's nothing in between here, granted we have this one, it's 216.49. It's 15 cents above this. I'm not worried about this one. Our target is going to be up here at 220.24. We may be able to pick up more targets on the daily if we come down here. Yeah, you could pick up a target here at 217.48. For me, I'm probably not going to worry about that 217.48. And then, like I said, you can either sell right here, which if you're holding 5 contracts, I would sell at least 3 of them right here and move my stop to a little bit above break even on the other 2. I would probably come down to maybe the 4 hour and start trailing it with the 4 hour. And that's how I would do that. So that's what I'm looking at for the January watch list. Again, AMD or NVDA, Dollar Tree, XLE, or any of the components of XLE, Dominion, I believe Schallenberger, I don't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what all they are, and UPS. So that's what I'm looking at, and I got to tell you, I'm not feeling great. I have a sore throat to begin with, and this is my 5th video I've done today, so my throat's getting even a little bit worse. I may take a break here and do the other videos later. So my throat's really starting to get scratchy now. So anyway, watch these videos, and these videos aren't necessarily only for this month. You see my process. You watch me do NVIDIA. You see my process. You can do this on any chart, any setup you like. You can plot it out this way. I do a scan for inside month. That's my bread and butter. Inside anything, inside month, inside week, inside quarter, inside year, that's my bread and butter. If I don't find enough charts I like doing an inside scan, then I'll go to one of my other ones. The Rev Strat's probably my second favorite. I'll start looking for a Rev Strat, and I'll scan for that. If I don't find any, and I did do a scan for the 1 followed by a 2 up, looking for a Rev Strat to the downside. I didn't see much on there I liked. In fact, there was only a couple even on there, and I just didn't really like the setups, so that's why there's none of those on here. Another one I'd be looking for, a 2 up with a red close. That's another one I like. A 2 up with a red close will look like this. It'll look like this one here. This is a 2 up with a red close. Or a 2 down with a green close. 2 down with a green close is right here. Your target's here. Very simple. Your entry's here, target's here. 2 down with the green close. Let's see, this is a 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, 2 up. 2 up, 2 up. Yeah, I don't see any more. This potentially, if you want to really stretch it, this is a 2 down with a green close, because at one point it was a 2 down and then it broke to the upside. This here, what I would be looking at, see this halfway point, this actually, I was kind of using this loosely, but I started putting more. I've been using this mentally for quite a while, but if you look at, I think it's Strat Sniper Sarah. Sorry, Sarah, if you watch this video, if I messed up your name. Anybody that follows a Strat knows who she is. Go look her up on Twitter, look her up on YouTube. She kind of put more time and effort into this. So that's what this is. This is just, all this yellow line is, it's the midpoint of the previous candle. So if it goes, at this point, this went 2 down. Once it breaks this midpoint, I'm looking for it to break the high of this candle then and go outside candle. So that's something else I would look for, and that's kind of what you see with like a 2 down with a green close, or a 2 up with a red close. Look at the daily, we'd probably find a little bit more. Here's a 2 up with a red close. Our target was here. I know it's hard to see because of this green, but our target was here at 207.39, and look, we went to 207.06. So that one worked out. Another one, 2 up with a red close. Target's right here, right there. We hit it. Let's find a 2 down with a green close. Yeah, I know there's got to be one here. I just don't see it. This is a 2 down with a green close, but that's more of a doji. That's not real convincing. But you get the point. Here's a 2 down with a green close here. Look at that. 2 down with a green close. Right off the 21 SMA. Boom. So you get the point. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching. I hope everybody had a great 21 and hope 22 is even better. And stay safe out there and see everyone later. Thanks again. Bye.